Hi guys! Welcome back to another Sunday Stitches and Stories. I'm your hostess, W.A. Ashes, but you can call me Ashes. Anyway, it's so good to see you. I say anyway a lot, so I've noticed that in videos. Anyway and like and all the words that when I go through and edit my manuscripts, I'm like delete, 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 cause they're fillers. And so I really should teach myself not to say them out loud if I'm deleting them from manuscripts. But I talk different than I write. We are going to review a book today. I hope you guys are doing amazing today. I really, really do. We are back in our creative corner. I am going to put some lotion on my hands because I've been knitting a lot lately and my hands are just like sucked dry. It's the only bad thing about doing needle art of any kind is that yarn literally saps the moisture out of your hands. Oh, that feels good, guys. And I'm using my Mary Kay Apple and Almond because it's my favorite lotion by far. I love this one. If you want, I'll link you down below to it. We have some new scents. So yeah, I sell Mary Kay too. I don't usually talk about it on here, but I'll link you to my page. Just yeah, don't don't call me by my real name. It shows up on there. But this is the author page. So, but I'll link you to it, alright, if you want it. And we have new ones. There's a coconut one, but I'm a huge fan of the apple and almond. Oh my god, my palms really needed that. That feels so good. Like, amazing. We're still working on our cowl. We're making it. I'm making it super long. It looks like it's gonna be like too long, but what we're gonna do is when we're done, we're going to crochet the ends together to make basically an infinity scarf, and we're going to crochet around the edges, and it's going to be long enough that once you put it on you can pull it over your head. That's the point of it being a cowl. And then we're going to add on top of it, we're going to put wolf ears on it. I want to be cute. My niece wants wolf ears on hers, and I'm going to experiment with them on mine because I think I know how to do them. I think if I knit a square out of the black fur I have, which it will be hard because it's hard to see stitches with fur um, yarn, but if I knit a black square and then I fold it in half so there's a triangle, then I crochet the edges, then I should be able to crochet the bottom, like turn a little bit onto the top of this, and it should look like a wolf ear. Hopefully. We're experimenting. This is a pattern that I'm messing around with, okay? So today, my dears, we are going to review Spirit Cold Wild Series #1 by Erin Havens. And Erin is a great lady. She's a great author. I'm friends with her on Facebook. She doesn't like to be tagged in things, so I'm going to put her link below, but I'm not going to put any of her social medias because I don't want to bug her. Okay? And so I will put her link for her book below if you want to pick it up. But tags like on Facebook and stuff just annoy her. And which I get. She just does social media so that she can promote the books. I get that. So I'll link her book below for you guys if you want to grab it. She is one of the few people who write shifter romances that I like. Not like people. I like other people who write shifter romances. I said that wrong. I just don't care much for shifter romances. I'm trying to figure out how to say this where I don't offend anyone. Because I don't want to. I've decided that people who really like shifter romances are the people who thought the Beast was cute when we were younger. Okay? I liked Belle's Library, and I liked the movie Beauty and the Beast, but I was more of an Aladdin and an Eric girl. Okay? And so, shifter romance isn't really my thing, but I pick them up occasionally. It really depends on the author. I like K.R. Hall's shifter romances, and I like Erin Havens. some shifter romances aren't really shifter romances. They're like werewolves. I don't count werewolves as shifters. They are technically shifters, but they're not shifters. It really that depends on how it's done, okay? Because I like werewolf romances. But if it's a werewolf like Van Helsing werewolf, um, those are my favorite werewolves. If it's a werewolf like Twilight werewolf, I count those as more shifters. And to me, that's a different kind of romance. I just, if it looks too much like an animal, you know what I mean? I like monsters, but not so much animals. It's hard to explain, I guess. But anyway, they're just not really my thing. I have one author that I adore. I love her personally, and I have a ton of her books. But I don't read her books because I read one of her books and I didn't like it. It was a shifter romance, and I felt really bad, and I didn't want to give her any bad like remarks just because I didn't enjoy the book. And so I just don't read hers, but I don't tell her that either. So I'm not telling you her name, okay? And so we are reading Spirit Called by Erin Havens. Well, I've already read it. Hopefully you have too, since I linked it in the comments last week. I mean, come on, guys. Pick it up. Let's have a book club. Let's chat about the book in the comments. It'll be fun. I don't know. Is a week too short for you guys to read them? Should I be telling you like 2 weeks in advance? Tell me about that. Do you want like me to list like the next 2 books in each video so that if you want to read one you have longer time? Or does a week work for you? Let me know in the comments. Because we can shift that around if we need to. Shift it. Because we're talking about shifters. I'm in a mood today. So this book took me a long time to finish and it had nothing to do with the book itself. I started it March 1st. I finished it May 20th. Yeah, it had nothing to do with the book. It was 100% me. I bought it at a book event. Getting Flirty in Kansas City, I believe, is where I picked it up. And so I had a paperback copy. And so I decided to read the paperback copy because I was trying to read more paperbacks this year. Turns out I just really am not that much into paperbacks anymore. I love how they look on the shelf. They're so pretty. They're my little trophies. But I'm not a huge fan of just reading them anymore. I don't know what it is. I've just shifted to this mood where I prefer listening to my books so that I can knit or do diamond painting or color during it. It's kind of become part of my self-care ritual where I just kind of get a space out. I swear that had I been born during like the era of radio stars and stories on the radio, I probably would have been by that radio every single night listening to stories just because I love listening to them. I like reading them too, but I love listening to them. They're like my favorite pastime. And so, you guys can't see what I'm doing with my hands. I either need to get taller, which is not going to happen, or I need to move you. I can't get taller. I stopped growing at 14. I'm short. You now can see part of the desk. What if I sit up tall? You know what? Hold on. This is Zero. He's a Scentsy buddy. This is Sally. She's also a Scentsy buddy. And now I'm tall. I had a car once I had to do that in. I had to sit on a pillow in order to drive. It's just my life. So anyway, I ended up, oh, there's that word again. I ended up picking up this book in Kindle, and then I had my accessibility feature read it. And there was an update to Kindle, and then somehow on my phone, my Kindle is now a boy, and on my Kindle, she's a girl. Which is kind of good, kind of not, because I had it set as a girl on both, okay? But now my phone's a boy. Which the other day I used my phone to listen to a book because the main character was a boy, and I used the accessibility feature on it. And so, that was nice. And then my Kindle read this one to me because it was a girl. And it was a main character that was a girl. There were some chapters with boy main characters, but since the main character is a girl, I went with the girl voice. So, shout out to Kindle for giving me options, I guess, but it confused the heck out of me the first time that I turned it on the other day, and my phone was suddenly a boy. My sir is a boy. He's Australian. But my Kindle never has been. I just assumed she was a girl for everyone. But my phone changed. So anyway, and it might not be Kindle. Thinking about that. Because on my phone I use text-to-speech, which is what the Kindle uses, but the Kindle has an actual accessibility feature where you click on it and then it reads it to you, and it reads better. It's not as robotic as this one. So maybe it's a phone thing, because I did update my phone. Whatever it is, it works. So I switched to Kindle is what happened, and so it took me way longer to finish it because I waited till I could buy it, and then I did it. The themes in this are starting over, PTSD, polyamory, and RH. RH is reverse harem. It means one girl, multiple guys, is what it means. They're also called why choose, where one girl falls in love with several men and then doesn't choose. The men in here are Oren, Caleb, and Tad, and then the girl is Callie. Oren, Caleb, and Tad are all shifters. Oren's a horse stallion shifter, Tad is a bear shifter, Caleb's a wolf shifter. And then our girl Callie is a empath. It took me a little bit to figure out what she was. I thought maybe she was a spirit healer at one point, but she is an empath. The cover of this book, I didn't read the synopsis of this book. I picked it up at a book event to support a friend. Okay, and so the cover of this book was giving real urban fantasy vibes, but then the book itself is actually takes place at a ranch, and it's more of a paranormal romance. I'm not mad though. The cover is beautiful, and the book is good. It talks about ranch life a lot. Everyone ended up at this ranch because they're trying to start over. The boys came back from a war and they're trying to get over their military experiences. Callie just wants to find a place that she feels like she belongs. There are hunters in here that are hunting shifters. So she talks, Havens in here talks about what is a human, basically. What makes a person, which in fantasy, that's a big thing. You have elves and orcs and stuff like that, and they're all considered people, right? In a fantasy world, a shifter would be considered people. In this world, there's fae and there's shifters. We don't know if there's anything else yet, but the humans have just become aware of the shifters' existence, and a handful of them do not like them. They think that they are less than human, and therefore they hunt them for sport. And so there are some hunters in here that are out for them, and it leads to this climax that had my heart pounding. Like, I didn't know if our people were going to survive. The plot in here is ongoing. I need to read the next book. I want to read the next book, which I consider amazing for a shifter romance, and an RH, because I'm not into RHs where everyone lives their separate lives. Me as a person, I can't picture myself being in a relationship where I'm with one person and then that person is with another person, but I'm not with that person. So I like RHs usually where they're all together, but they're not in here. And I was surprisingly shocked that I enjoyed this one, but I think it's because the boys have a really good chemistry that's non-romantic. Okay, the boys get along, they're best friends, and so there is still an emotional attachment there. And to me, as a ace, the emotional attachment matters more to me than the intimacy part. And so I was very glad to see that. And I need to read more because I need to know how our boys turn out and what happens to the evil guys, because we don't know for sure in here. It kind of ends at a cliffhanger, which as a series, that's a good thing. When you're writing a series, if it doesn't end with you wanting more, then the author did something wrong. Okay, because you need a reason to buy that next book. What they tell you as a series author, when you're writing your book, they tell you the first book sells the first page sells the book that you're reading. The last page sells the next. And so you have to leave off with the reader wanting more, or else they're not going to pick up the rest of the series. If it feels complete, they're not going to read it. I've read tons of first books from series and never picked up the rest just because it felt complete and I didn't care to know what happened next. But this one I want to know, so I'm going to end up picking it up. What did you think of the book? What will you take away from it? I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. We kind of already talked about that. There was a decent plot. This wasn't just shifter spice. It really wasn't just that. Honestly, it isn't even really 18 plus. I'm assuming it's going to get 18 plus because it's already been hinted at that these guys are very steamy for each other. But there wasn't really any detailed stuff in this particular book that makes it 18 plus. Definitely YA up though, okay, because there is still descriptions of desire, okay, but nothing like no open door sex scenes. What was the aim of the book and how well did the author fulfill it? I would say that the aim is entertainment and to show that it's never too late to discover where you belong, and she did really well. Would you recommend this book to others? Who's the target audience? Yes. I said I put on here 18 plus just because it seems to be heading in that direction. But for this book specifically, you could do high school. I just don't know if you'd want to, knowing that it might be heading in the 18 plus direction. Because once you get attached to a book, you want to know what happens. And this book is going to leave you wanting to know what happens. And so take that with a grain of salt. One sentence review. This is a unique story about one girl and 3 shifters and a ranch that is steeped in magic. There you go. It is our main character, our boys, have PTSD. And so we get to hear their experiences in war. Our girl it's not like flat out outright said what all happened to her in her past, but she has definitely been emotionally abused in some way, I would say. And her empathy makes her feeling emotions even stronger. She is, I will tell you this because I did kind of take away a point for it, but not quite. This is a me problem. Okay. She is a horse girl. Callie is. My niece is a horse girl and I love her to death. I had a friend in high school that was a horse girl. They just, sometimes horse girls come off as really snooty. And she did at first. Callie came off as really snooty at first. And at first I was like, I find her really annoying and I do not like her. I grew to like her. I did grow to like her as she developed more as a character. But at first I thought I wasn't going to. And it took me like half the book to decide that she's okay. And I'd hang out with her. I definitely want to meet her horse, which I do not know how to pronounce the name of, and I don't know if my Siri was telling me it was pronounced correctly. They said it was a Cody. That might be right. I don't know. It's ACHOTI. And so, I don't know how to pronounce the name of it, but I do like her horse, and I would love to meet her horse. Our plot was 5 stars. Characters were 5 stars. Writing was 5 stars. Enjoyment was 4 because of the fact that I thought I was annoyed with that character for half the book. And it took me a little bit to get into the story, but once I got into the story, I was all in. Setting was 5. She did a really good job. I could picture the ranch. I could picture the stream. I could picture the hunter's camp. I could picture the little diner that they ate at. It was great. Readability was 5. Okay? And so when I added it all up, we rounded up to 5 stars because it was 4.6, I believe, and anything over 0.5 gets rounded up, anything under 0.5 gets rounded down. And so we are sitting at a 5-star review for this 323-page book. And so I highly recommend, if you like shifter romances, to go pick it up. Alright? Because it's worth it. And like I said, I have to read the next book. Problem is, I just now started 2 series that I like, because this one and another one that I just finished, and I'm going to have to finish both series, which means in the future you're probably going to get a lot of Aaron Havens and a lot of Ben Alderson, because Alderson's is a trilogy right now, and so is Havens, and so you're gonna have some of those because I need to know what happens. I got attached. Our next book that we will review next week is Untamed by Glennon Doyle Melton. I had picked it up for Women's History Month, and so I will link that down below too if you would like to do it, like to read it, and just for the heck of it to help you all out, I'll go ahead and link our next book, but I want you guys to let me know in the comments if you want to one book or two books each time linked, okay? So you guys can read them. Our book after Untamed is going to be Death in the Clouds by Agatha Christie. So I'll link both of those down below so that if you want to read them so we can chat about them in the comments, that'd be great, because my ultimate goal for this channel is basically to create a online book club that we can all chat about books in and not be judged and just talk, because there's a book club in the nearby town, and apparently there's one in my town, but it's a private book club, and I kind of want a book club that those of us who are more bodies who are mental illnesses or something and just for whatever reason don't get out and about as much can just come to when we want. And so like these videos, I post them, they're my reviews, they're my opinions on books, but you can watch them whenever and comment whenever about what you think about the books. And I just want to ultimately create a community that's welcoming for all book lovers and that we can all just hang out in and talk about books. I do take your suggestions. Someone recommended a magazine to me called Dark Matter, I believe. I have two of them on my wish list, and so I'm hoping to get those sometime, and I'll be able to review them. As you give me book recommendations, if I think I like them, if there's something I want to read, I put them on my wish list to pick up, and every month I try to get myself a couple books off of it. The thing is, I am a reader who believes that there is too little time to read books that I don't like, so I tend to pick books that I have a feeling I'm gonna like. It's very rare that I end up reading one that I don't mesh with. And so I'm also a seasonal reader, and so you get more winter books in winter, summer books in summer, that kind of thing. Um, so your recommendations help me know what you want to know, what you want to read. It also puts me on the path for finding new books because of algorithms specifically. They know what kind of books I like to read because that's what I look up, that's what I purchase, and so that's what it recommends me. And so I get recommendations for fantasy and paranormal romance and contemporary romance all the time from specific authors. But they're books that I am gonna like to read, and that's why they give them to me. But that shortens my shelf basically. It doesn't let me see the whole bookstore. I see a curated selection. And so if there's books that you know about, that you want to read, that you want to talk about, let me know and I'll see about picking them up and we can discuss it. Like I said I said in the last video this year, I'm trying to expand my reading interest beyond my usual stuff, beyond just fantasy and paranormal and contemporary romance. I'm trying to be more open about genres and finding more books that I love that are on the road less traveled, basically. So I hope you guys have a great Sunday. Thank you all for being here, souls, and let me know below in the comments what you want to see on this channel, if you want how many books you want us to post ahead of time. And I'm going to go knit some more and listen to the end of a book by Ben Alderson because I need to find out. There was a plot twist, and I'm very angry at a person, and I hope he dies. Probably won't, because I read the synopsis for the next books and I know he's in them, so. But maybe he'll die at the end of the series. So, I hope you guys have a great Sunday, and I will see you next week. Bye, beautiful souls. Enjoy your week. Hello. I didn't stop. Bye, guys.